Well, welcome to this PowerPoint where we are going to provide you with guidance in the use of the web-based ASII. Now, certain assumptions, folks. You've studied sections 1 through 4 of the CRI manual, and you therefore are familiar with the scoring labels, how to administer, and score and grade. You've also done the tutorials. All right, the automated scoring and interpretation interview. This is the web-based program. You will find it at thoughtfulliteracy.com. And we will first go through all the visuals, and then we'll actually take you through. So you begin with inputting data. You'll type in name. You will also use the drop down to get the grade, age, testing, and your name will go there. So I just wrote name of student, 4th grade 1033, and reading teacher. That's the basic information you put in. Notice that's done so that you could prepare this recapitulation record. Notice it all appears here at the top of the recapitulation. All right, so after you do that, what do? We get to the word list. And in order to use the word list, you're going to the grade level at which you administered the flash and include that score in the drop-down menu, then instantly input the data from the untimed. So here's what we did. We had second, we had 20, third, 20, 20. Fourth, we had 19 and 20, and fifth, we had 15 and 17. So we have inputted the data from the word list, both flash and untimed. All right, what are we going to do now? We're going to go to the narrative passages. And folks, as soon as we get there, this is what we're greeted with. We have the stories from the pre-primer through the 12th grade, the entire table of contents. You will just select the stories you used. We're going to hold off for a minute and talk about reading levels. We will get to that though. For now, we're going to go to the 3rd grade and we're going to select the farm vacation. And this is what will appear when we do that. We would have to let the computer identify that we did it either orally or silently. Then we would put in all the scores, and since we're doing it orally, we would have to include the information about the miscues, all right? And that would be here with this drop down. I'm going to point out for a second, we're going to hold off on this about retelling help because that's a special part. But we're going to select oral, we'll put in the scores, we'll put in the miscue data, and this is what we have. So we have all the scores here, but notice this is blank. So here are the scores, here's the miscue. What do we do here? Well, we're going to tell the computer that we want retelling help. And what happens? Instantly, you see this rubric for the retelling. Notice you have all the input here, and then you're going to tell, after you put all of that data, you're going to select this because you're going to want the computer to calculate that retelling score for you. So we inputted that data from the student's retelling of this passage. All right, and the computer told us we had a score of 2.5. Then it says go back and change your entry or enter the retelling score. So that's how you get the retelling. After we've done the first one orally, we're going to go to the second story, the championship game, and we're going to do that silently. So again, we would select how we're doing it. We would have to put all the comprehension, but notice, no miscues. Why? We did this silently. So we would put in all of the scores and, of course, the retelling. And you know how to do that now. You would ask for help, input the data when the rubric appears, and tell the computer to calculate. Remember we talked about reading levels? Well, we aren't going to do a full scale protocol here. We're just using one grade level to show you how to do it. So what we're going to find is the student is going to do very well. So we're going to download the down menu and select third. All right, then what we would do is we would activate the narrative, rather the recapitulation record, and that will appear just like that. Now that sounds complicated when you look at the visuals, folks, so what are we going to do? We're going to do it with you. And watch, it's rather simple. So we start out here. I'm going to sign up into my critical reading inventory, just as you do when you sign in. Now, after I confirm my login, look at where we're going. We're using this here, ASII Online Preview. And the reason we're saying preview is that it is not completely finished at this point, but it will be. Nonetheless, we could still use it. All right? So, I click here. Remember? Here is where I'm going to I'm going to put Jimmy in, and I'm going to say Jimmy's in the 4th grade. Jimmy is 10. Jimmy was born 9/3, and my name, right? All right, so we're going to start here. We had 20, and notice we're just going to use the drop-down menu. 3rd, we had 20. 4th, we had 19. But we had 20. 5th, we had 15, and we had 17. So notice, we've inputted data that's basic to our student. Then we did the word list. What do we do now? We're going to go to the narrative passage, right? So we're going to click there, and there again we see the full table of contents and the levels. Where are we going to go? 3rd grade, Story 1, The Farm Vacation. Remember, the student was correct here, only half here. Correct here, half here, half here. Correct, 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 and correct. All right, we had to say, I almost forgot, this was done orally, and now we're ready to come down and do our miscues. So we had 2, we had 1, we had 3, and we had 0. Remember, we needed help, so we click help. What did we have? We had full, half, full, 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 half, full, and yes, we had a personal response. So what do? Calculate. So now go back. Now watch. That means you have to get out of retelling. You're out of retelling, and now what we need to do is we're finished with 3rd oral, so we have to do 3rd silent. To do that, we go back to the table of contents. Click your narratives, and now we're going to pick our 2nd story. Remember? The championship grade, the 2nd story of 3rd grade. We click this. By the way, we did this silently, and guess what? We had a perfect response here for 3rd grade. So I'm going to input my data. Now there's nothing here, but I am going to go to retelling help. And we have here and I input my data and I say calculate, and we have a 3, 5. So I'm going to have to get out of retelling. No, go back. So get out of retelling and now input your score. Now say I needed to go back and look at second. While I'm in this, I can't, rather my oral, I can go back and I could say, oh, I forgot to put the retelling, so I will put the retelling there. Now, that you can do. You can make any change while you are in the program. At this point, I want us to realize we have done third, story 1 orally, and story 2 silently. So what do we need to do? Come to the bottom of the table of contents and view the recapitulation. This is important because we would want to see how the student performed. Because we're just putting in the data, we're counting on the computer to calculate. We could use either a PDF or an RTF. We'll just click on the RTF, and that's Jimmy's narrative, and it opens up in a Word document. Now notice here is where you have your comprehension average. So I have a 90. Now I know what I can do for grade levels. So I am going to go back, and this time I am going to come up here to my reading levels, and I am going to select third grade for independent. So what have I done? I've inputted all the data for third oral, third silent. I checked the score using the recapitulation record, determined the average, and was able to identify third as independent. I have an assignment. I have to submit the recapitulation. So let's go back and view the recapitulation. This time what we're going to do, last time I just want to show you here there are different forms. We're going to use the PDF. Now what you can do here is you could either print it out to hand in, or notice here, this is the download button. At that point in time, you download your PDF form. When you use the RTF form, that came into a Word document, so you merely saved it. Here, with PDF, you must download. All right. And there we are, completely finished with having done the ASII through the web-based. Now, why do we say coming soon? One of the things you were able to do while you were inputting data, you could change and save. However, the program, as we said, it's in the preview stage, not completely finished. We are working diligently to have the technology structured so that you can save that data. As it is now, you only save the recapitulation. If for any reason you inputted the wrong data, you would have to go back and redo the data. However, the recapitulation is saved permanently so that you could submit it for an assignment. Isn't that exciting, though? And this now comes to the end of this PowerPoint, where we have guided you through the automated scoring and interpretation interview using the web-based program. Enjoy your learning as you develop your journey to become the best reading teacher possible.